A news story going around the NFL currently is that Aaron Rodgers wants to be the next quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams if they do decide to trade away Matthew Stafford. And in today's Madden 25 rebuild, I'm not just putting Rodgers on the Los Angeles Rams, I'm giving them prime Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to see if we can win ourselves a Super Bowl. Now, first things first for the Rams, I want to take a look at the roster, and honestly, offensively, it's really not too bad. Kyren Williams at running back, we have Puka Nacua as well. It has already been reported that in real life, Cooper Kupp, he is going to be traded or cut. Regardless, he will not be on the Rams in the future. The offensive line is still a work in progress, but we at least have a couple of solid pieces in Dotson, Havenstein, and Jonah Jackson. Of course, we are going to be sending away Matthew Stafford, probably to the highest bidder. I would like it to be like the Giants or one of those other quarterback needy teams, make it a little bit more realistic. We will see the market regarding him. And then defensively, the Rams have been really stacking up on a lot of young talent the last couple of years. In this past year's draft, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, some of their only star dev, which seems kind of criminal. But there's still some work to do at the cornerback position and inside linebacker. So that's probably what we're going to look to address in this year's draft. But an 82 overall, 84 overall offense, 80 overall defense, and things are going to get a lot easier as well. Once we bring in prime Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be pretty ridiculous. Now, we do have $109 million in cap room, but we have 23 players that are coming to the negotiating table, but none of these guys are super interesting right off the bat. Rob Havenstein would be cool, but he is 33 years old. So if he's not taking a one-year deal, I guess we can give him that. Protect Aaron Rodgers for at least one more season with a pretty solid veteran. So I like that contract, but outside of that, I think I'm fine letting all these other players leave. I mean, they're kind of just depth players, not going to have a big impact on our team. But now let's check the market for Matthew Stafford, see if anybody wants to trade for him. And we do actually have a decent amount of interest, including the Raiders, offering Colton Miller, one of the best left tackles in the league, and a couple of nice picks as well. That's actually really interesting. So just looking at this, the Raiders would be the best. I might try and see if the Giants would maybe take him for maybe a future first, something like that. It has been reported that the Giants do not want to part ways with, I think, their number 4 or their number 3 pick in this year's draft. And what if we got their 35th selection and their 3rd? Could something like that work? I'm going to try this trade here with the Giants, and if it goes through, it'll be the trade, so we do. We get their 2nd and 3rd round pick for Matthew Stafford. I kind of like how this trade turned out. And so now we need to try and go get Aaron Rodgers. And hopefully he didn't retire, because then that would kind of throw a wrench in this entire thing. So I'm hoping he did not. And Aaron Rodgers, he's still here. So what I'm going to end up doing is trading for him, and then obviously lowering his age and kind of customizing him to fit the prime criteria. But I also made the trading now very easy. So I think we're going to be able to give up like maybe a 7th rounder, because Rodgers is technically a free agent this year. So the Rams are not going to have to pay anything to bring in Rodgers outside of really his salary. We're just going to give up this 6th round pick, bring in Aaron Rodgers from the Jets. And for some reason, it didn't go through. Is the very easy still kind of preventing that? That doesn't really make any sense. So we'll give 2-6 this time. I don't really know why it's not working. I guess I can go check it again. It's literally on very easy. I feel like any single trade should go through. I mean, it's literally on very easy. I'll try and just switch it onto that again, but I don't know why that didn't just automatically go through. I don't really know what happened. Maybe we'll just try and offer a 3rd. They're playing kind of hardball with us. And okay, so there we go. We had to trade a 3rd round pick to get it done, which is kind of annoying. But Aaron Rodgers, he is officially now a part of the Los Angeles Rams. And now it's time for maybe the hardest part of this rebuild so far, is determining how good Rodgers should be. So he did win a couple MVPs in a row, and we're going to take down his age. I think like 27 would be fair, because players age really, really badly in Madden. We want to make sure that we do have the peak Aaron Rodgers, of course, wearing number 12. I think prime Rodgers was a little bit faster, and we're going to boost those up a little bit. We'll obviously check and see how all these are. Awareness. Why is his awareness so low? He's been in the league for so long. Shouldn't he have a lot? We'll just stick that at 80. But of course, the more important one is like his arm talent, which was really good. His accuracy. He's got to be one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league during his prime. So all those got to come up a lot. We'll obviously check his overall, make sure it's somewhat realistic. He was great on the run. He was fantastic under pressure. I mean, Rodgers was an absolute stud. He's a 4-time MVP for a reason. He was elusive as well, breaking sacks. I think his development should be superstar X factor as well. And I don't really know a ton about these player traits, if they really matter or anything about them, but we're just going to move on from that. His contract, we're going to keep it as is for now. And I think we're ready to go and see what his overall is. Okay, so there we go. Rodgers is a 94 overall superstar X Factor. I think that's pretty realistic. I would say, let me know in the comments section down below if you do agree with kind of this rating. I think Prime Rodgers may even be higher than this, but we're just going to stay now at a 94 overall. Of course, his experience is a little bit whack. I guess he started playing in the league when he was 7 years old, but we're not done making some trades now because we also need to get rid of Cooper Kupp since he is on the open market. Now, I almost forgot about the trade difficulty. Definitely needs to be back on normal before we do make this trade. But let's see if anybody has interest for a 32-year-old receiver who is fairly expensive, and we do have some decent offers. I do like Peter Skronsky, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and even really Jameson Williams. I think we're going to take Jamu and pair him with Puka Nacua and Aaron Rodgers. So we're just going to accept this. Probably not the most realistic trade, but I think it's fair enough where we can justify it. And in free agency, honestly, some pretty good players, especially on the offensive line. I don't think I want to pay any of these guys a ton of money. I mean, we do technically have the funds to bring in some of these players, but I just don't think I want to shell out a huge contract to Ronnie Stanley, who is already 31 years old. I guess maybe a 3-year deal could be fine. He'll still be a good player the next couple of seasons, I believe. So we're going to offer that to him, but he doesn't have a ton of interest in coming to LA, so don't really think it'll happen. Shaq Thompson just recently got released in real life. I'll offer him a contract because we are very weak at middle linebacker. He could be a guy that starts for us the next couple of years. And maybe even like Stephon Gilmore on a 1-year deal, maybe his last season before he retires. Another player that probably will be our cornerback 1 this upcoming year. Ronnie Stanley, though, decided to go to the Las Vegas Raiders. And now it's about if we got our other 2 players. And we did in Stephon Gilmore, which is nice. But Shaq Thompson decided to go to the New England Patriots. So 1 for 3 on free agents. And now we head to the NFL draft. And here we are in the draft now. We have the number 26 pick. I'm not going to try and move up, I don't believe. So we're going to see who the BPA is when we're on the board here. I'm hoping maybe Josh Simmons or another tackle. I think I just saw him off the board. So that kind of takes away some of my plans, but there are a few really interesting players here. There is Ashton Jeanty, Malachi Starks, and Colston Loveland still on the board here. And I think with just how weak our secondary is, I'm going to take Malachi Starks. He really does develop pretty well with his draft class. So I'm going to take him to be kind of the new captain of the back end of our defense. And yeah, he's a really, really good player. Hidden dev with 93 speed and 95 acceleration. And because of the Matthew Stafford trade, we also have the number 3 pick in the 2nd round. And Ashton Jeanty is still here. I mean, it just does not make sense to take him. Siobhan Revel is a very interesting player out of East Carolina. He's 6'3", over 190 pounds. He is coming off of a knee injury, but there's no injuries in this rebuild. So we're going to take Siobhan Revel here. Never taken him in this draft, and wow, number 15 in true value. This guy is a stud. 96 speed, 96 acceleration. I mean, we just like rebuild our entire secondary with 2 picks. And now we don't pick again until the 3rd round. I don't think we're going to have a left tackle who can start for us from day 1 on the board, which is definitely not ideal. I'm praying maybe Connerly is still here, and he is not. So we have a pretty big hole at left tackle. I don't think either of these guys here, top of the board, are going to do it for me. Jack Nelson from Wisconsin. And his metrics are okay. Don't think I want to reach for him here, though, with the 3rd overall pick in this 3rd round. Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green is a guy that's really rocketed up the draft boards. And he could be a really fun player. But we also could go after a center. And Jake Majors out of Texas. Somehow he's scouted, and he's a round 1 to 2 talent. So he'd actually be a good long-term answer for us there, and we do need help. And Fannin, again, I don't know how good he is in this file, but I mean, he's got great athleticism, could be another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. I'm just going to do it. Kind of the risky pick because we know that center is good, but Fannin, here we go, 62 in true value. He is going to be hidden dev, and we just got Aaron Rodgers, another weapon, and our future tight end because our options right now are getting up there in age a little bit. So Fannin, he's going to be a stud. I said we needed a linebacker, so Jamon Johnson here has pretty good physicals. Might be a slight reach here in the 4th round, but we're just going to take him, try to plug another hole, and he's not great in terms of true value, but he is hidden dev with 86 speed and 90 acceleration. That's pretty good tools for us in the end of the 4th round. Taking a look at the draft recap, we have a 79 overall in Malachi Starks, 76 overall in Siobhan Revel, a 73 overall for Fannin. Johnson's only a 67, which is unfortunate, and I let the CPU take the rest of our players, and it wasn't great either. But I'm very happy how we kind of rebuilt our entire secondary in this 1 year's draft, and now we kind of focus on the linebacking core in the future. But here's the roster in year number 1 of the rebuild. The offense actually looks really, really good. Probably just need a couple more starters on the offensive line. With Havenstein on a 1-year deal, probably going to be gone after this season. I signed David Andrews, but he's not a long-term answer. And then I have Jonah Jackson, who's a guard. I put him out at tackle because we don't really have an answer there currently. And defensively, probably just another corner, a defensive tackle, and a middle linebacker. And then after that, we should develop and probably be one of the best teams in the league. And through the midseason point, we're kind of cooking 5-2 in a matchup against the 2-5 Carolina Panthers. So optimistic about us moving forward. And Rodgers is just playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, which Prime Aaron Rodgers is. And Matthew Stafford, really, really struggling on the Giants. They're 0-7. But we do have 12 players to sign this year, and Aaron Rodgers is one of them. And he wants $400 million. And we're going to have to give it to him. Kind of ridiculous, a 7-year deal, but you know what? We have plenty of cap room, over $190 million, so we're going to offer him that contract. And we just locked up Rodgers for probably the rest of this rebuild. Now, Kyren Williams doesn't have a ton of interest in returning, but I have to get back our superstar running back. With him saying this, I feel confident if we go every single week and offer the same deal, he eventually will accept. Jamison Williams, we traded for him for a reason, want him to return long-term as well. Cameron Curl now is probably expendable because we did draft Malachi Starks, and I think Kobe Durant, I don't want to extend him currently, but we have him playing the nickel this year. If he does play well for us, we'll probably revisit him in the offseason. And I think for right now, I'm fine with not bringing back any of these players, these older veterans on these 1-year deals. I just don't think I want to touch those contracts at the moment, but we will get Kyren signed as the season advances. And the Rams in the season 12-5 with the number 3 offense in the league. Aaron Rodgers absolutely cooked. Our defense wasn't great, but still kind of in the middle of the pack. We have so many young players this year, a couple of rookies as well starting, so I'm not too surprised by that. But we are the number 2 seed in the playoffs. The Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels are the number 1 seed, which is kind of wild. But let's take a look at the stats and see what Rodgers did this year. 4,700 yards to 45 touchdowns and 9 picks, a generational season. Rodgers somehow added in 350 yards and 5 touchdowns, which is kind of funny. But Kyren Williams just under 1,000 yards as well, but 8 touchdowns on the ground. Receiving, Nakua absolutely cooked. Jamison Williams over 1,100 yards. Whittington even had a good season. Our rookie Fannin, 73 catches, 11 touchdowns. We'll definitely take that. Jonah Jackson definitely struggled at left tackle. Have to solve that issue this offseason. And defensively, how did we do? Looks like sacks-wise, Braden Fisk and Jared Verse both cooked. And picks-wise, Stephon Gilmore, the old man, with 4 interceptions, 3 for Kobe Durant, and Verse actually had 2 picks as well. Honestly, really happy with how our defense performed. And we even had a rookie, Jamon Johnson, with 77 tackles and 3 TFLs. I really don't know what to expect in this game against Dallas, but we're going to see if we can somehow advance to the divisional round in our first year. And so far, our offense has done nothing. It's 6-0. And for some reason, we don't even have a logo. I don't really know what's going on, but we must have an imposter team because the number 3 offense in the league cannot score a point in around 2.5 quarters. But I want to hop in here, user Rodgers for a play. We're going to find our rookie tight end Fannin for a first down. And Rodgers is 84 yards. Are we playing the 85 Bears defense, or is this some Madden cheese? I would probably say some Madden cheese, but we did finally score 7-6 now, and another third down conversion. We made it 10-6, but the Cowboys are moving it again down the field. They're trying to capitalize, and they do. We've got a big 3rd and 3 here with a 3-point deficit, basically inside the red zone. Rodgers dropping back, gonna fire it, and he might have just thrown a pick 6. He's going to try and chase him down, and we are going to get him, but man, that could have just been night-night. The Cowboys are basically just going to ice it there with a touchdown, and that's it. We only scored 10 points in our first playoff game. I'm really not sure what happened. Kind of weird. I guess we can take a look at the stats, and Rodgers only had himself 162 yards, and of course, we saw the pick. I guess Kyron did kind of cook on the ground, but really disappointing playoff game from our offense. The Detroit Lions won the Super Bowl 19-13. Rodgers did not win MVP with his season. Josh Allen got that award. So overall, kind of a wasted year. Not an MVP award for Rodgers, not a Super Bowl appearance, or even a win. And now we head into the offseason with a few more holes to fill as we try and get over the hump. Last look at our players ready to negotiate. Kobe Durant does want to leave. I might just sign Cameron Curl and move him to the nickel cornerback spot, or maybe even like sub linebacker. That's another potential area we could have him play. But yeah, the rest of these guys, I'm fine letting walk. Havenstein is actually still pretty good. I mean, 82 overall if we give him another 1-year deal. I'm actually fine doing that. We're likely not going to get somebody better than him for this upcoming year, so we have the money, why not? But yeah, outside of him, we're going to let all these guys walk and head into free agency with $113 million in cap room. And there are some really good players on the market, including Kolton Miller, who the Raiders tried to trade for us for Matthew Stafford. So we're going to offer him a 2-year deal. He has a ton of interest in playing for us. I think we have a good chance to get him. Obviously, Kirby Joseph would be nice, but we already have Cameron Kitchens. We already have Malachi Starks, and we just signed Cameron Curl. So I don't think it makes a ton of sense to bring in Joseph, although he is a really, really good player. I do think just in case, Luke Wattenberger could be an option for us if we don't find a center in the draft. So just in case, we'll sign him. I think a similar thing for DJ Reader as well, just a solid veteran, 79 overall, just in case, because I think last year we had like a 72 overall maybe starting for us all year. That's not going to be good enough. DJ Reader, one of the best run stoppers in the league, going to give him a 1-year deal. I think getting another very serviceable linebacker in Terrell Bernard makes a lot of sense, and he's not very expensive, but pretty lucrative contract. He does have a lot of interest in playing for us, so I think we should be able to get him as well. Stephon Gilmore also left in free agency. I think he might have retired, so Roger McCreary, a young guy, around the same overall Gilmore was. I'm going to offer him a 2-year deal. Probably want to find another corner in the draft, but again, just in case, McCreary would be a really nice pickup for us in our secondary. Well, we did in fact get Kolton Miller, so our offensive tackles are at least serviceable for another season. Terrell Bernard unfortunately decided to go to the New Orleans Saints. That's definitely unfortunate, but we did get ourselves DJ Reader and Roger McCreary. So honestly, pretty good. I am going to offer Nakobe Dean a similar contract. He's younger, but he's only normal dev, so he's probably not going to progress a ton more, but going to offer him a pretty good contract, and hopefully that will give us some depth at linebacker. And it does. And now here in the draft, we're picking kind of where we were last year, but this time I don't really have a ton of insight on some of these prospects. I wanted to maybe get a defensive tackle, but there was a couple of them that went off the board, although this guy, Mac Stringer, looks pretty good. This Justin Dell kid, he looks pretty good as well. Great speed, great strength. So I guess comparing that to Stringer, he actually got better speed, but I do think Stringer probably is the better player. But I did scout this middle linebacker who's a round 1 talent, and Kyle Noble, and he's got elite strength and great speed. We do probably want to lock up our linebacking position. So I'm going to take the best player that I think is on the board, and that's going to be Kyle Noble here out of Georgia. Can't really go wrong with a Georgia prospect. He's number 6 in true value, and this guy's going to be one of the best linebackers in the league. I don't think you can ever have enough pass rushers, and this guy is 6'4", 251 pounds, and he's labeled as a speed rusher. His metrics look pretty good. I mean, nothing super special, but good all across the board. Elite change of direction. Going to draft him, and he's not great. 136 in true value, maybe the worst pick that we've had so far, but 85 strength, 80 speed, hidden dev, so maybe he can develop into being maybe a rotational pass rusher for us. I had my eye on this center as well, Devontae Hooks. And are you going to tell me this guy is not going to be a great player? Great acceleration, elite agility, elite change of direction, elite speed, good strength. In what world will this guy be bad? Going to draft him, and he's 127 in true value, but he's hidden dev, 88 strength because of positional value. Why he's kind of lower there, but I still think pretty good player and our center of the future. And taking a look at the draft recap, Kyle Noble is a generational linebacker, 79 overall. Our 2 next players in Townsend and Hooks were 71 overalls, which is okay. I don't know why the CPU drafted the quarterback in the 4th round, but I guess he's going to be our backup now. And here's a look at the roster heading into year number 2, and it honestly looks really, really ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers is up to a 98 overall. The offensive line is much better now with the addition of Kolton Miller. Bannon is up to an 83 overall. Jamison Williams and Puka Nacua continue to progress. But I'm very excited about this defense with Malachi Starks and Cam Kitchens continuing to improve. And have Noble, one of the best linebackers in the league already, at an 80 overall. The only potential weakness you could say is our corners with Revel and McCreary. But they're both young, pretty good, and only going to continue to get better. So I'm really optimistic about this defense this year and really improving from, I think, 16th last season. And through the midseason point, we're better than we were last year. 6-1 with a matchup against the Panthers in week number 8. We do have 16 players to bring back and sign, and $122 million in cap room. Puka Nacua, obviously one of the best receivers in the entire game. Neutral deal, 4-year contract. He's not going to accept it yet, which is surprising, but we will get him signed. Kobe Turner, a really good player on our defensive line. Want to lock him up long term. Steve Avila has developed into a good left guard for us. Obviously want him to return. Kevin Dotson is interesting. He's an 85 overall, 29 years old. He doesn't have a ton of interest in returning to our team, but we do want to lock him up. He doesn't want to sign right now, which could be problematic down the road, but we're going to keep an eye on him. Byron Young, I do want to keep our pass rushing core kind of locked up. Omar Spates, with the addition of Nakobe Dean and the rookie we drafted, do not need him anymore. Jonah Jackson doesn't really play for us either. He can walk. Emmanuel Forbes Jr. can leave. And yeah, the rest of these players not too interested in retaining at the moment. And the Rammies went 16-1 in year 2. The number 1 ranked offense, the 13th defense in terms of points per game, but our rush defense was really, really good. Obviously, we're going to be the number 1 seed in the entire playoffs, but this is the best kind of year I've ever had, I think, in Madden. 16-1 is pretty ridiculous. And that means we should probably take a look at the stats and see why we were so good this year. And Aaron Rodgers had himself another really good and efficient year. 4,900 yards, 44 touchdowns to 8 picks. Rushing wise, Kyron Williams had an even better year this year, 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. Receiving, Nacua had 21 touchdowns. Jamison Williams had a great season. Whittington still has a really good third option, and Hannon continued to improve in his second season. The offensive line was better this year, and defensively looks like the sacks were kind of spread out a little bit, but Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk led us. And picks-wise, Malachi Starks had 4, so I think he's going to get a dev trade upgrade. Our division round matchup is going to be against a divisional opponent in the Seattle Seahawks in the 1 versus 5 matchup. But here we go. Let's see what the 16-1 Rams can do. And starting off down by 7 is not great, but we answer quickly, 7-7. And I'm hoping now we can kind of take control, 14-7 now. And again, moving it down the field, this Rams team is just different this year. 21-14 though, the Seattle Seahawks are not going away. And Aaron Rodgers still cannot put some more points on the board. The Seahawks are about to tie the game. Actually, we held them to a field goal. It's 21-17, but they're going to try and go for it here. I don't know who their quarterback is, but we're going to try and commit up the middle using our rookie and Noble and Kenneth Walker short. It's our football. And now can Aaron Rodgers put together a dagger drive? And I think he might have just done it. 28-17, but Seattle does get a field goal. 28-20, keeping themselves in the ball game, but I think that's just going to about do it here. We really dominated this game from start to finish and end up winning by 15 points, covering the spread for you guys, 35-20, taking down, I don't even know who their quarterback is. And oh my goodness, this is what I'm talking about. Rodgers in year 21. 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's on his LeBron James arc. And Roman McLean is their rookie quarterback and actually had a decent game, but he's not going to outduel Prime Rodgers. Come on. And in the NFC Championship game, a matchup against the Detroit Lions, kind of like a new rivalry in today's NFL with Matthew Stafford leaving to join the Rams, then playing so frequently the last couple of years. But this video's kind of gone full circle now. The two teams that have gotten rid of Matthew Stafford are facing off against each other. I won't lie to you, I feel kind of invincible. I'm hoping that we can just take down another team in pretty dominant fashion. And it's going to be 14-7, and the Lions cannot respond. It's 21-7 now. Aaron Rodgers is just on one. And I'm not talking about Ayahuasca. I think that's what it's called that he was doing. But 21-10 now. We're still trying to add some more points. I think we are going to try and kick the field goal. It's 24-13 now entering the fourth quarter. 31-13, 31-20. The game is practically over. Why not hop in, take another look at this offense, see what Prime Rodgers can do in this Rams uniform. And underneath here, caught by Jamison Williams for the first down. And Rodgers is having yet another prime performance here today. I'm going to try and find our second-year tight end. Just trying to do a little bit of stat padding here as we get Rodgers another touchdown, his 4th of the day, right above last year's Super Bowl MVP, Jack Campbell. But another dominant win for Sean McVay and Aaron Rodgers, 38-20. And we are on the way to the Super Bowl in year number 2. Kind of a quick turnaround ever since we got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And for the first time in my Madden history, we have an all LA Super Bowl. The Los Angeles Rams against the LA Chargers. I don't know where the Super Bowl is hosted in 2026, but we're about to find out in an LA clash. And here come the Los Angeles Chargers, led by, of course, if man himself, Justin Herbert, and the Los Angeles Rams by Aaron Rodgers in his second Super Bowl appearance. In his first one, he took down the Pittsburgh Steelers, and in this one, he's wasting no time, tying it up 3-3, but our defense is really struggling against Justin Herbert. But it is 10-10 as we approach the end of the first half. The Chargers score yet another touchdown. It is 17-10 now. But I'm going to hop in here now and try and get ourselves another touchdown with Aaron Rodgers on some play action here. And there's Kyren Williams underneath. And just don't step out of bounds. He's going to be down to the 1. But here at the 1-yard line on 4th and goal, very big play. Going to try and find Nakua here underneath. And we got him. He holds on to it. And it's a tie ball game. The Chargers, though, cannot respond. And we're again moving it, but have to settle for a field goal. That Charger defense is kind of annoying. And this is honestly a lot closer than I expected. Is that Derrick Henry back there for the Chargers? They're going to run it to him on 3rd and 13. He's going nowhere. 20 rushes for 43 yards. But the Chargers do get themselves a field goal, and now I need to watch Aaron Rodgers on a game-winning drive in the Super Bowl starting at the 30-yard line. We've got 5 minutes, 3 timeouts, a 16-1 record on the line. The first play is to Kyren Williams, and he has a huge hole for 6 yards. We're actually kind of gashing the Chargers. I wonder if that is what we do down the field, but here's some play action. Rodgers looking for somebody, and he's going to throw it away. So now a very important 3rd and 4 for prime Aaron Rodgers here. Dropping back, plenty of time. Rodgers is going to fire to the middle of the field. It's caught by Fannin for the first down. Still plenty of time. Don't really need to pass the football yet. Rodgers is going to drop back, and he's going to find our tight end, I think our second tight end, for 9 yards. Davis Allen with a nice catch there, getting involved in the game plan. But I think this here could be a run to Kyren, and it is. Plenty of blockers up in front, but nobody took the linebacker. So now another very important play here on 3rd and 2. I might just run it again, and I think we got him off sides, or is it going to be a false start? This is a big call. Rodgers tried to do his hard count, and it's going to be a false start. Rob Havenstein selling. But here's Rodgers now on 3rd and 7. We're going to have to pass for it now. Going to bring, I think, Jamison Williams in motion. And Rodgers on some play action is under pressure. Going to escape. And look at Rodgers with the speed. Picking up that first down. Huge play from A-Rod. And now we are officially in Charger territory. On the move here. Receiver in motion again. Rodgers under some pressure. And he's just going to fire it to the sideline here. Big hit, but it's caught. Rodgers is going to change the play here on 2nd and 7. Clock is still moving. I would like to see a chunk play eventually, but Rodgers again under some pressure, going to fire underneath to Kyren Williams. Can he make somebody miss? He cannot. So now we have another very important 3rd and 10. We're not quite in field goal range, and Rodgers going to fire again. It's swatted away. And now we're going to go for this on 4th and 10. Puka Nacua cannot bring that one home. Rodgers has another chance here on 4th down to make some magic happen. Rodgers is going to fire a dime to the sideline. It's caught for the first down. A little flick of the wrist from Rodgers, and now we're basically inside the red zone. Rodgers on some play action and going to fire to Kyren Williams, and he's going to be held out of bounds. I really don't want to settle for a field goal, so this has got to be some play action here. And we are going to snap it before the 2-minute warning. It's going to be a handoff to Kyren, who makes a couple of man miss, and he's down inside the 2. A ballsy play from Sean McVay, but he got it to work. And Kyren here, that was a dumb play. Now 1:40 to go. Rodgers is dropping it back, firing underneath to Fannin, but he's going to be short and at the 2. Me personally, this is 4-down territory, but Rodgers, an empty, going to fire. It's incomplete. And Sean McVay wants to kick this field goal. I'm not going to do that. We're going for it. It's at the 2-yard line in the Super Bowl. We've come this far. We got to go for it. And Fannin Jr., I love him. On this little hitch route here, and he's open. Fannin, hold on to it. He's got it. I thought for a second he might have dropped it, but we just took the lead. And now our young defense, in the biggest games of their career, have to get one more stop against Justin Herbert. He's going to fire here underneath to Derrick Henry. He didn't get out of bounds. The Chargers elected to not use a timeout, so now a 2nd and 5 here. Herbert going to fire underneath again. This time the first down and a timeout. Now approaching midfield. Herbert under some pressure, and he's going to be sacked by Jared Verse, one of the best pass rushers in the league. They're forced to use a timeout. They lose some yards. That is a huge play for our defense. They're pinning their ears back and getting after Herbert. And again, almost got him there. This time, short of the sticks, they have to use another timeout. At this point, just keep them in bounds, keep the clock moving. We should be fine. Herbert under some pressure. He's going to be brought down again. It's our rookie linebacker, Noble, with the sack. And the last play of the game here on 4th and 14 for the Chargers. Can Herbert pick it up under some pressure? Going to fire deep. It's broken up by our safety tandem of Malachi Starks. And that's just going to just about do it here in Atlanta. The Los Angeles Rams in year number 2 with Prime Rodgers win themselves another Super Bowl ring. Honestly, probably the most impressive season I've had. Going 16-1, and look at Sean McVay get himself the Gatorade bath. Now, Rodgers did in fact win regular season MVP, Sean McVay Coach of the Year, but Kyron Williams won Super Bowl MVP. I don't think Rodgers passed for many yards in that game. But now, as I do in really every single rebuild, I'm going to try and go back to back and repeat as a champion. After going 16-1, I'm really just going to sim through free agency, the draft, and really just get on with the season and see how well we can do. But I guess we will bring back Havenstein for one more season, 3 straight one-year deals. But he's still a pretty good player for us. While on the other hand, DJ Reader is not at a 73 overall. Now, there are some studs to further improve our 16-1 record, and one of them is Tyler Linderbaum. We're going to give him a 3-year deal, has a ton of interest, probably going to be able to get him. We will bring in Devontae Wyatt to kind of be our DJ Reader replacement this year, just get a solid veteran. And you know what? Since we are kind of just simming this upcoming season, I'm just going to offer Kyle Hamilton a deal. We have the money. Not going to be playing this long term, so why not? And we did get Hamilton. I wanted Linderbaum more, but he decided to go to the Seattle Seahawks. And we did get Devontae Wyatt, so that's cool. But now we're going to go ahead and move to the draft. I'm going to let the CPU take every single player. And the CPU honestly cooked. I mean, really did a good job. Got us a 74 overall right tackle for the future in Keegan Bolden. Sean Shepard here out of Auburn, a pass rusher, another offensive lineman who's highly rated. Even a 75 overall running back in the 5th round. And the lineup in year number 3 after a 16-1 season is even better. 99 overall Aaron Rodgers. Kyron Williams is now into the 90s. Puka Nacua, 96 overall. Fannin is now a superstar tight end. The offensive line is still really good. And we even have Bolden here kind of waiting in the wings to take over for Havenstein after this year, but again, we won't be playing that out. And then on defense, Noble isn't as good as I thought it would be, but he's an 83 overall star in year number 2. But the young pass rushers and Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, and Byron Young have all developed and becoming really good players. Devon Revel is an 85 overall. Malachi Starks is an 84. The new addition of Kyle Hamilton, a superstar X factor. It brings us to an 88 overall, 89 offense, 87 defense. And could this be the first time we go 17-0? We'll have to wait and see. And the Rams ended the season 8-9. Are you kidding me? 3rd in the division and the number 10 seed. How does that happen after going 16-1? Rodgers was still really good this year. Not as good as previous seasons, but I don't know why he fell off. Kyron Williams was still good. Receiving wise, we were still really good. Still had a lot of sacks, including our first double-digit sacker and Braden Fisk. Interceptions, Cameron Curl had 4. Kyle Hamilton had 2. It just doesn't make any sense. Madden Sim is an absolute joke. And I was just trying to check up on Matthew Stafford's stats because I kind of realized I haven't been doing that year by year. And he's no longer in the NFL. So he had to have retired the last couple of years. So I did not get to see his stats for the Giants. That is my apologies. But just such a Madden Sim way to go out. We are a 90 overall and we went 8-9. Explain to me how that makes sense. But that is going to do it for me in today's Madden 25 rebuild. Kind of a unique idea, but I do think Rodgers, there is a chance, maybe a small chance, but a chance he does end up on the Rams in 2025. And I wanted to put a fun twist on it, like what if Rodgers was in his prime and went to this Rams team? This is kind of how things could look. And obviously the results were really good. Let me know in the comment section down below what rebuild you want to see next, but subscribe to the channel if you are new. Drop a like on the video for more rebuilds, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.